And welcome back. And we're moving into our third and final segment for the morning, Airbender Yoga Studio. And there's actually a visiting instructor in with us, Pilates actually, a workshop that they're having. In with us is Ashanti Garcia, who is a certified yoga instructor, and she owns the Airbender Yoga Studio. There she is, beautiful.
Thank you.
And of course, there is Cinna Boyle, all the way from Montana, but now lives in New Mexico. My goodness, a Pilates instructor. And welcome to Belize. Both of you, welcome. It's so nice to have you in. What's going on with the earrings? Did you guys plan this morning?
Nope.
You're looking wonderful. We're looking forward to the conversation. And let's jump directly into it. What is Pilates?
Pilates, so it's Joseph Pilates created it when he was a child. He was very ill, and then he had to kind of learn how to take care of himself. So he created this series of exercises that start on the mat and have since evolved for various reasons that build from the core out. So it protects the internal organs. It really accesses and uses the body the way it's intended to be used, especially as we moved into more industrialization and first world nations and things like this. We don't use our bodies correctly. We're at the computers, we're on our phones, things like this. So his exercises do a lot of micro movements and intentional use of the body to build the muscles, to be more efficient and encourage immunity. So it builds the immune system, things like this. Flexibility, fluidity, breath work, things all like this.
Wow, you know, to me it sounds like a bone in the body. Mine, you hurt your Pilates. And then that's the name of the workout. But
there's all these memes that say, "Oh, I have Pilates." I thought you said pie and latte.
That's one way to get.
That's my mom's favorite.
Oh my gosh.
But what's the difference? I'm sure yoga and Pilates get confused quite often. Flexibility, breath work, those are some of the common threads. But what are the main differences?
The main differences are it's fluidity within the exercise, and it's not about fluidity between the exercises would be one of the main differences.
Okay.
The breath that we use in Pilates is a little bit different, and the alignment adjustments are often very different. We kind of joke a lot because I practiced yoga for years and years and years before I started Pilates, and so I come from that background, and Pilates has made my practice more, more efficient, but much less accessible to some of the poses I used to do because my body doesn't do them the same way now that I know how my alignment works differently, and I find more success in it that way. Whereas she will take my classes and she can do everything.
No, I feel like a total beginner. I'm like, please do not classify me as, because for me, Pilates, I'm beginner. I'm like, with yoga, I can do advanced stuff, but I'm like, please, I need all the adjustments as anybody else because there are differences. So
is it poses or exercise?
Exercise.
So you're exercising in Pilates. You're putting together poses
in the yoga.
In yoga.
In Pilates, there's not the spiritual component. Yoga, there's a spiritual component.
Yes.
Joseph pulled from Ashtanga, which is a style of yoga. So he pulled from Ashtanga. So that's why there's a lot of similarities. Like teaser, I know that Ashanti did teaser, I think, with you last year.
The legs.
Which is very similar to boat pose, right?
Yoga,
but the alignment and how you work into it is very, very different in yoga than in Pilates. I was really excited. I can teach certain sequences to get the body ready and put somebody into teaser. I can barely do boat pose in a yoga class, but I can work into teaser if I do the exercises in Joseph's way. So there's just a difference in the way you use your body. Pilates is also used for healing a lot. So lower back injuries, neck injuries, shoulder injuries. I've had the great privilege of working with women in recovery from mastectomies after breast cancer and working through that and getting mobility and range of motion and things like this. C-sections that have really torn up the abdominal area. Vaginal births that really mess up with the pelvic floor, and how the medical professional used to teach to heal that has shifted. And in Pilates, all it is stabilizing that pelvic floor and moving from there out. Instead of getting everything around it, you stabilize that pelvic floor and you move in. And we've had great success with some women who haven't been able to do certain exercises for years. And they come and they do Pilates, and we do private sessions. They work their way into classes, and then suddenly they have their mobility back. They're stronger than they've felt in a really long time. I have a gentleman that I worked with for a year and a half who has hyperflexibility. So we slowed everything down, used the Pilates method.
Hyperflexibility meaning too flexible.
So hyperextension, often in. Not me.
Not me either.
How are you too flexible?
Well, what it does is it actually ruins your joints, and you can promotes osteoporosis and arthritis, things like this.
Yeah.
And he actually hurts a lot.
Yeah.
Some people can't do hot yoga because of the way it shifts the body. It's you go too deep.
It means that really hyperflexibility means that the joint moves beyond the normal range of motion, and the joints are also meant to like stabilize. So it's very easy to show an example, like when people stick out their elbow. Like I don't have it in my elbows, but some people there's this huge lift and curve, so that's the hyperflexibility in that joint. And some people only have it in one joint, some people have it in multiple joints. So
and if you have it in your hips, it can be really dangerous for walking, lower back issues, things like
you could
this.
dislocate your hip
easier.
Yeah, so it's actually
and so I worked with him, and he's able to access poses from yoga because he was an Ashtanga practitioner for a long time. He's able to access poses now that he hasn't been able to do in probably 10 years.
Wow.
Because of his weekly work.
Yeah.
And just really slowing down, stabilizing, doing the micro movements and things like that.
Now, as soon as you say stabilize, like all the time, I'm just thinking core.
Yes, that is a huge part.
Yes. Which is pain.
We sneak it in.
Yeah, it's not like overt like in yoga. It's totally different. Yeah.
So what are we talking about when it comes? I mean, like, I'm sure people are trying to visualize. People know how to run. People know how to lift weights. People know maybe a push-up or a sit-up.
Yeah.
But what are we talking about in terms of the movements to strengthen, as you say, from the inside out in Pilates?
Even like breathing, the simple act of breathing is an abdominal engagement. We don't belly breathe. In Pilates, we don't teach belly breathing. We teach breathing into the rib cage because the rib cage is a separate function from the hips, which means everything in between has different mobility. And so if you breathe into your rib cage, you can actually get 2 inches of expansion by exercising and stretching that cartilage and really using the muscle of your lungs by using the abdominal core. So when you breathe in, you pull that belly button to spine and you breathe that rib cage out, and then as you inhale, you breathe the rib cage out, and as you exhale, you pull the rib cage back together, keeping that belly button pulled to spine, and accesses the upper abdominals all over here, and then those lower abdominals start to wake up.
Does this happen only when you're doing Pilates or you're working out, or you teaches the mind how to, because you're lying down, you're sleeping, and you don't know what's going on there, but you're breathing, and then we're not sure if we're breathing from where you're saying we're breathing from. But so how do you do this?
Sleeping, you're gonna do what you're gonna do, right?
Yeah. You're gonna.
I have had modifications for clients that will sleep with like pillows between their legs to help with their hip adjustments and alignment and things. But generally, outside of the sleeping, because you're right, you're just gonna, if you're gonna belly breathe, you're gonna belly breathe and enjoy the heck out of it. But like at the grocery store, what I notice about myself and what my students notice is like even standing in line, suddenly you're like, oh, drop the shoulder blades together. I'm gonna build my belly button to spine. Oh, that feels better. And they start to feel better, and it starts to become a conscious thing initially, and then it becomes an unconscious way of moving because their bodies just feel better.
Yeah.
There's not so much exhaustion in the lower back. The shoulders aren't so tired at night. The tension starts to relieve. The neck isn't so sore, and it makes a big difference in how they function through their day.
Because of their posture.
Exactly.
The posture has a lot to do with it.
And that comes down to breathing. If you breathe correctly from the Pilates point of view, then your posture automatically has to, because you can't breathe like this and breathe correctly because you're, so you have to drop your shoulders and you have to bump them back and bring that belly button to spine. You're like, oh, there you go.
All right, so let me sit up straight because I think I'm slouching. I don't.
You probably are. These chairs are very conducive to slouching.
Indeed.
Yeah. All right.
So let's go through some of the basics for the Pilates. But before we do, you're having workshops, and that's why you're here, Cinna. We didn't get a chance to find out how this connection was first made. How Ashanti continuously recruits you back to Belize.
What to say? You messaged me on Facebook because someone referred me to you.
Yeah, we have a sort of mutual friend. I don't even know.
I've never.
So I have
so it was a Facebook connection.
I made a friend.
I
made a friend who knows
that.
her partner who connected me with her, and we're like, sure, why not? Let's try this thing. And so we decided to try this thing, and then I came down. We had never met. I had never taught an international thing ever, and I think I'd been teaching for less than a year. And so I came down and I kind of panicked. That's why I wasn't here. I was like, I'm going to go to a cave. And then, so then we taught the workshops. They were really successful. We hit it off. We've struck up an incredible friendship. I've always loved Belize. I love being here. So any excuse I can find to be here, I'm like, okay, yes, please.
Yes.
And then my life here has grown considerably, and I have a pretty strong life here.
Yeah.
And so I come back every few months, and I have the great privilege of working with her ongoing, and we just continue to build our friendship, and our professional experience together is really positive. We share a lot of the same values when it comes to the way we view people and community work and things like this, so it really fuels both of us to, I think for me it makes me feel like I'm being a better teacher and a better contributor, that I get to give back to the community here in Belize that has really been really open to me, which is a huge part of what I'd like to do. And that's so much of what Ashanti does and with her studio. So.
All right.
And what has been the response so far? You know, when you say workshop, people think, you know, I'm going to sit in a seminar, hear stuff. Exercise workshops are not sit and listen.
No. You will work.
When we hear workshop, we think pen and paper, right?
Yeah.
Like we used the blocks in her class last night, and I never even knew we were going to use the blocks, but it was really a great addition to help with alignment and also to challenge the body more for those who are like able or want to. So it was really good.
Okay.
Right.
So on Tuesday, you had an arm, shoulder, and core workshop, right? How was that?
It was
It
awesome.
was so good. So
It
well
was
attended.
awesome.
Can you lift your arms today? That's what I should
Yes,
ask.
I'm
you.
not sore.
Okay, yeah.
She's good.
Pilates is interesting because it doesn't like it's not like going to the gym and working until your legs are shaky. And I'm an athlete too. I play soccer. I ride horse. I lifted.
Yes.
I mean, I'm a really active human, and so Pilates for me at first I was like, this is dumb. I don't sweat. I'm not sore. I don't feel it. And then about 2 weeks after that, first initial engagement, I'm like, but I'm going to do 30 days. I'm going to figure it out. So I did 3 times a week for 30 days, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, my body. And I noticed my alignment was different. I noticed I stopped falling so much in soccer, which I didn't fall that much, but it was noticeable.
Yeah.
I wasn't as sore. I don't wear a knee brace anymore when I play. And I've been playing for 12 years as an adult, and I play 3 times a week, and I don't have to wear a knee brace for the first time in over 15 years, probably.
Wow.
So that's made a huge difference. I recover from injury faster. My yoga practice has become a lot stronger. Even though I can't access some of the poses the same way I used to, my body doesn't hurt. And I think that's what Pilates does. It kind of sneaks in, it builds that core, it builds that posture, that breathing engagement. You start to become less like, that's a limitation of my body, and more like, that's where my body's at.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you have to start from there. You don't get to cheat in Pilates, generally.
Yeah, I was going to be like, well,
Sometimes
we
you
don't
can.
really cheat in yoga either, but.
No, not with really good instructors,
Unless you're counting for yourself.
And so it's not, you don't feel like necessarily like sore the next day. I think although some of our ladies from last night may have had tender hips this morning because we did a lot of hip openers, but it's sneaky that way.
Yeah.
And you can kind of feel like, oh, but you start to notice little differences, and that's really what is important.
And so on Thursday,
Yes.
there is the core and balance.
Yes.
Workshop?
We're having 2, no, not workshops. So
These are classes,
yeah,
Oh,
it's
these
funny.
are-
People kind of confuse the two because like classes, how would you explain a class, Cinna, versus
class
a
is-
workshop?
So a class is going to be your normal hour-long class, which is, Pilates industry standard is 45 minutes, but I choose to teach an hour. And you do a warm-up, you build up to like a
So
culmination.
you do like a regular
And then
exercise
you-
class.
yep.
Yeah.
And then you
And then a workshop sort of introduces a really intentional engagement. So when I first came, I did an intro to Pilates where we sat and we sort of talked about the different principles of Pilates, what they meant, and then every exercise I applied those very overtly. So it gives more space and time because they're 90 minutes. It gives more space and time to be more overt about the engagement of it, to be really targeted and really specific. Where class is, okay, we're going to work the shoulders. We don't know what that means. And we're just going to go and we're going to have a lot of fun.
And it's best to do Pilates every day or specific time?
2 to 3 times a week to complement other activities.
Okay.
Weightlifting is a great one that complements with Pilates because Pilates is generally cardio, neither necessarily is weightlifting. But weightlifting, the way it builds the body, builds muscles, right? So then if you take Pilates to complement that, you engage the ligaments, the tendons, the space, the fascia, the psoas, like all of these things. And so even though it may take longer to feel as strong as you do after you build, you're going to, weightlift, you're going to do it correctly and efficiently where your body's actually going to have long-term leaner strength than that short-term bursts of strength. Yeah.
So people can sign up for the core and balance class,
which is
which
Thursday.
will focus on doing core.
Everything in Pilates is core, so always know that that's there. Down to the breathing, there will always be belly button to spine. Press the lower back down.
And we have 2 classes actually this Thursday, which it is tomorrow. So let's also speak that way. Tomorrow we're having 2 core and balance Pilates classes at 9:30 a.m. and then 5:30 p.m. And those are $15 to drop in because they're like classes. Then we have workshops, which are this weekend.
And so the workshops are Saturday and Sunday. What's happening on Saturday?
Saturday is leg, booty, and core. Which was really fun last time in July, which is why we're repeating it. So it'll be a lot of really targeted focus on, of course, the core, but leg strength and flexibility and mobility and booty engagement to make sure that we're using all of those muscles and areas intentionally and correctly to build healthy body systems.
Okay. And on Sunday?
Sunday morning is the full body challenge. So that's where we are going to do everything in the body and really engage every aspect of the body, open up the thoracic area, really engage all parts of it. So if you do the workshop on Saturday afternoon, this will feel very restorative for the lower half and really engaging for the upper half. So your full body will be worked. And because they are 90 minutes, we do a lot more. So these are more likely to produce a soreness or sort of that like, feeling afterwards.
It hurts so good. All right, so we've talked a lot about it, and now we want to see what it's like. So we'll do a demo, I believe. And so once again, though, we want to remind people that if you are going to participate in the workshop, they'll contact Airbender Studio. And you can register for the classes. Drop in for the classes, you said, Ashanti, are $15, but the workshops are $50 for members and $60 for non-members, right?
And there's still space in all 3 workshops. And so the Sunday afternoon workshop is a restorative Pilates, which if you do the leg, booty, and core, followed up with the full body challenge, this will be so yummy. We use incense, there's air conditioning, there's a lot of restorative. They're very similar to poses, but it's a very active class at the same time, and probably the one that works your core the most while loosening up the arms and legs. So we're going to demo 2 things, 2 sets of exercises that kind of move into each other. And the first is going to be a very specific glute exercise. So I'm going to ask Ashanti to come onto her belly, legs back about hip width apart, and I'm going to show two different ways of doing this. So I'm going to have you start laying flat, Ashanti. So hands on top of each other, forehead on top of the palm, back of the hands. And bring your legs together a little bit more. There you go. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. So another thing with Pilates is there's a lot of hands-on adjustments and a lot of cueing. So I talk a ton during classes, not because I like the sound of my voice, but it's really meant to engage every part of your body. So from here, Ashanti, I'm going to ask you to bend your left knee a little bit more to right there. Good. Keeping that left foot nice and flexed. Press the 5 toes in your right foot down into the earth, relaxing up here. And you're going to take and lift the heel up towards the ceiling. Good. And come back down. You should feel that right in here. If you do
this is the booty work.
This is the booty work. This is very specific. By doing this, what you do is you shorten the hamstring, you lengthen the calf so they cannot engage. If you bring your knee in a little bit more, there you go. And then you lift the foot towards the ceiling. It only engages that bigger glute muscle in the back. If your knee is out too far, it engages the hip. If your hamstring is engaged, you actually use the back of the thigh. So it's really important that you get this alignment. So stay here, Ashanti, and come onto your forearms. So this is an intermediate version of that same exercise, and this requires engagement of the core in a different way. So you're going to keep your shoulders down. Push that sternum back just a little bit. Good. Pull that belly button to spine. So engage here, squeezing the glutes just a little bit, and now lift the foot up. There.
Cool.
Notice how small the movement is.
Yeah.
But it's a really big
that looks hard.
Yeah. All right. So from here, go ahead and put that foot down. And you're going to slide your hands back so your wrists are under your shoulders, and push up into a plank, however you choose to get there. keep your feet about fist width apart. Good. So this is a really nice plank, and what you're going to notice is the belly button is still pulled to spine, the sternum is pushed up, the shoulders are down, the crown of the head is pulled forward, and the heels are pulling back. So this is a good plank here. What I'm going to have Ashanti do is turn so the outside of her right foot and the inside of her left foot come onto the earth, and her left arm comes up to the ceiling, stacking the hips. Good. Bring that right in here. There. So this is a side plank.
That's hard.
So you're going to lift, push on your next inhale. The left
she's
hip.
making that look so easy.
Yeah.
Because
Push that
that
left
is
hip up.
hard.
To the ceiling. And then as you come down, keep that space between the rib cage and the hip bone. Bring the hip down towards the earth and bring your hand down towards your ankles. Find the fluidity here. Drop the shoulder. There you go. Good. And then push back up. Good. You're going to bring your left arm down, back onto your toes, find your nice plank, and then lower down however you'd like onto your belly and relax.
So how long do you hold for?
That was it. That would be it. And we would do probably 3 or 4 sets on that side. Thank you, Ashanti. So you do like 3 or 4 on that side, come down here, and then we would do something else, probably the other side with the glutes, things like this, roll over to the other side. That would be the culmination pose.
Okay.
So we would do a bunch of warm-up and a bunch of getting things loosened up, engaging, waking up the different muscles so that when you access this, you're ready.
Show us something people can do at home. A beginner's
Yes. Or was
Pilates
that
that
the
people
beginning?
can try at home.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Can you come on
Whether
to your
it's
back?
core or something. Yeah. So this is something that you can try. You can move it if it hurts. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't even think
Okay.
about that. They've been on TV
All right.
before. Okay. So this is a pretty nice neutral position,
Yes.
right?
Okay.
And you bring your shoulders down, shoulder blades slightly together, pull that belly button to spine, press the lower back into the earth, grounding the feet, bringing them about fist width apart, making sure the knees have that same, there, good. Bring your heels back about 1 inch, right here. Okay. So I'm going to teach you how to do a basic Pilates sit-up, which is not grabbing the head and then yanking it up, because that just injures the neck. Bring your arms over shoulders, palms facing each other, keep those shoulder blades pulled together. And then lift your fingertips towards the ceiling. There you go. Tuck your chin as if you have a lemon between your chin and the sternum. So lift up. Tuck the chin as if you have a lemon. So bring your chin forward as if you have a lemon. Good. Look towards the navel. And then pull yourself halfway up towards your knees. And then roll back down.
And if you get stuck halfway and can't move,
You hold. No.
understand that one.
Yes. Yeah, you're feeling it, right?
Because you can, like, if you don't have enough abdominal strength, you'll
Well,
get
and
stuck.
and actually, if you do this, so if you don't, do you mind doing improper alignment? I don't want you to injure your neck. So instead of bringing your chin in, let your head hang. So if you do that, go ahead and come down. That's making me nervous for your neck. If you do that, you're not going to come up because if you think about physics, right? You can't press your lower back down, which is where you ground in, and that turns that pelvic in, which is stabilizing the pelvic. Belly button to spine, keeping those shoulders down, and if you lift up, you keep your head here, you're actually putting all the pressure on the back of your neck and on your back, and you're not using your core at all. But by tucking your chin, it's actually much more accessible. Every woman in our class last night was able to do this.
Okay.
Another trick too, if you bring your feet out flat, you can put your feet against a wall, or I can have somebody stand, but you can also put your feet against the wall and practice this way. Same idea. Lift the fingers towards the head, tuck the chin, look towards the navel, pull yourself up as far as you can go. Sit nice and tall, grounding the tailbone, crown of the head up, and then roll off the sits bones, one vertebrae at a time, go down. And that's something that's accessible too. And
Okay.
you
Once
may
you
have
put
to
your feet against the wall.
if you put your feet against the wall.
John's like,
Thank you. So if you put your feet against the wall, it's like the weirdest thing. I've literally sat on people when they have their knees bent. If you have your knees bent for a second, I will literally just come and put my big toe on their big toe. And they're like,
they
I
can't
got
do
it.
it.
And I'm like, that's all you. My toes are not that amazing. Like, and it's we also get in our own heads. So if we start to really think
That's
about
what it is, yeah.
our bodies and our muscles and things like this, and we're like, okay, but if I engage the right muscles, yes, because you walk around all day, this is accessible to you.
Yes, it is.
But we have to use our bodies the way they're intended to be used, not the way we think we're supposed to do.
Oh.
The biggest challenge in Pilates is, okay, if we're going to do a side leg lift, just do the side leg lift. I don't want you to go all the way up and then come over back and you're using things that don't exist in the body the way they're supposed to be there. Just do a leg lift. That's all it is. And it doesn't seem like you're doing as much as you want to be doing. But if you do it consistently over time, it makes a huge difference. Yeah. Injury recovery becomes much less time, much more accessible. It's a great complement or replacement for PT, for instructors who have the correct training. It's a great replacement for PT if you can't afford it, for physical therapy, if you have shoulder surgery or things like this, to work out frozen shoulder, to get that mobility back, all those kinds of things. It's a great alternative.
Yeah.
So you encourage anybody and everybody to get into Pilates?
Even if you think you have some kind of injury or physical limitation, or you're really uncomfortable in your body, this is what you can do, and we can work together on it, and you will feel better when you leave. I have confidence, not because of me, but because the method works.
Do you encourage partners in
We do
doing
some
Pilates?
partner work at times, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
You can lend your big toe to hold the feet down.
Yes.
All right.
The booty one is really good for partners.
Yes, that is a really good one.
Excellent.
All right. Thank you so much, ladies.
you.
Once again, there is a group class on Thursday.
Two group classes.
9:30 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. at Airbender Yoga Studio. And on Saturday and Sunday, there are three workshops taking place.
Yes.
One on Saturday, two on Sunday. I'm sure you have this information up on Facebook.
Yes.
People can get it there.
They can also register online once they get in contact with me. Call, text, or WhatsApp me at 620-4230, and you'll be given the link to register online.
Excellent.
Thank you for coming in. Thank you for doing the demo. Best of luck this weekend. We're going to go ahead now and take a final break. And when we come back, we'll have our wrap up. So stay tuned.